In this mini masterclass, I'll walk you through how you can facilitate a really powerful workshop on psychological safety in teams. And I'll walk you through one simple technique and a tool that you can start using with your clients. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm Sequant, a business psychologist and founder of Grow More Leaders, where we equip coaches, consultants, trainers and facilitators with the tools and the training that they need to grow more leaders with their clients. So, on to this important subject of psychological safety, and just a brief working definition of what we mean by psychological safety. And it's where each team member, whether in a project team or in a leadership team, feels that they're able to have a voice and to genuinely share their opinions and feel that they're going to be heard by their colleagues. And this really matters. I can remember a few years ago working with a leadership team, both in terms of facilitating their workshops and supporting them with one-to-one coaching. And I was really surprised with the number of colleagues saying that they didn't really enjoy being a member of this leadership team, that they spent so much of their time in endless meetings, that they felt that the meetings, A, weren't particularly productive, but B, their colleagues were simply not getting the best from them. And this was a leadership team, and you just think of the wasted talent and the wasted number of hours where team members are showing up in body but not giving of their best. So, this important subject of psychological safety. The simple technique I'm going to share with you is just this 4-box matrix, which is the start of a conversation at every meeting that the team has. So the whole idea here is that this is not a one-off conversation or a one-off session by the team, but this is a ritual that happens at every single meeting that they have, which uncovers this whole subject of how can we role model high levels of support and high levels of challenge. So let me just quickly walk you through the 4 elements here. So low levels of support and low levels of challenge, clearly that's a bland team meeting where individuals role model poor levels of listening and equally are just not really interested in supporting or challenging their colleagues to achieve better decisions and better outcomes. But equally, if you have high levels of support but low levels of challenge, there is an underlying level of niceness where the team pays superficial attention to topics and conversations, but without really asking, could we be doing this in a different way? Could we be doing this even better? So there's an underlying level of politeness and niceness to their colleagues. The contrast is where there is low levels of support, but high levels of challenge. And it feels as though there's an element of aggression. There's a level of intensity here about showing people up. And when people feel vulnerable, when people feel that I am being exposed here, clearly that damages psychological safety. The whole idea here is that individuals choose to be themselves, choose to be the best version of themselves, choose to air their ideas and air their opinions for the best interest of the team. So the sweet spot is obviously that top right-hand quadrant where there's high levels of challenge and high levels of support to help each individual show up as the best version of themselves. So at a practical level, what this might mean is setting at least 30 to 40 minutes at the start of each meeting being set aside for one-to-one coaching work, where colleagues can role model high levels of support and high levels of challenge in the context of what's your biggest challenge for the month ahead? What's your most difficult change agenda? What's your most difficult decision that you've got to make? And colleagues work with each other as peers in terms of peer-to-peer coaching conversations where they role model high levels of trust, high levels of support, high levels of challenge, and in so doing, they're creating psychological safety. So the idea is that each meeting, whether it's on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, the pairings keep rotating. So ultimately, you're having really meaningful conversations about important topics with a peer. And the sole objective of that peer is not to sit in judgment, is not to give you answers, is not to give you solutions, but to create a safe place where you can think aloud, formulate your ideas, and be clear about what I need to do in terms of post this meeting, but equally, what conversations do I need to have right here, right now, to get the goodwill, to influence my colleagues, and to actually get the backing of my colleagues behind some of the decisions that I need to make. So that's the technique. And the tool that I wanted to share with you, which is a follow-on from this, is an honest conversation that the team can have with each other about what you need to know about me so that you can get the best from me. And to facilitate that session, we use a tool called the values cards. And the values cards are based on the work of a psychologist, Edgar Schein, or at least it's been influenced by the work of Edgar Schein. And it gets to a really important subject about, other than money, what really motivates and what really drives colleagues to be part of this team. So you've got 12 different psychological hooks, from I turn up to this team because I value self-esteem, I've turned up to this team to leverage my technical expertise, I turn up to this team to coordinate others' efforts, I turn up to this team because I want to work closely with customers, I turn up to this team because I value challenge. So there are 12 psychological triggers, and the idea is that each team member gets the opportunity of presenting back to their colleagues, how do you get the best from me? What are the reasons that give work meaning? How can I fully contribute to this team? And what do you really need to know about how to support me, to challenge me, but equally what turns me off, and how you actually end up getting the worst from me when I'm part of this team. So you've got two parts of this conversation around creating psychological safety. And the whole idea here is that we don't just talk about what psychological safety is, we practice it in our meeting rituals. And through regular conversations about connecting with the team, really understanding what motivates and what drives each team member, the team get into a virtual circle rather than a doom loop, where they really understand how they can get the best from each team member so that there is real psychological safety and diversity of thinking. So if you found that helpful, just drop me a comment, click the like button, and equally, if you would like further videos that would be helpful for you in facilitating leadership development workshops or team development workshops, just let me know what would be most helpful for you so I can actually create content that you will find most helpful. Drop me a note if you found this helpful and you'd like to be notified of future lessons, then please go ahead and click the subscribe button. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.